Podcast City Network.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score. We are so sorry for the technical difficulties that we are having. For whatever reason, our broadcasting software does not want to cooperate today. Maybe it has something to do with all this crazy weather we've been having. I have no idea. But either way, we are here and we're making it happen thanks to the one, the only JDM. We honestly could not have done this without you. How you doing today, bud?
We're good, bud. We're good. Just dealing with these damn technical difficulties. It's a good thing that we got a good team here and a good family with Podcast City Network. You know, not your system. Let's run through my system. I mean, as long as we can find a way to make sure that I get yelled at a few times by somebody saying, "Hey, I'm a man. I'm 40." So I think we're good to go. And you know, I'm really freaking excited, dude. I'm already jacked up on Mountain Dew because I've been waiting. I felt like I got some extra energy because last week I already dealt with some shit. I let some stuff out about the NHL, and lo and behold, ESPN decided to just pour some extra syrup on that freaking, pancake today with all kinds of bunch of bullshit. So I cannot wait to get into it, man. I'm really excited for today's episode.
Oh, yeah, man. It's going to be really great stuff, and we do have a lot planned for this show. But before we can do anything, you guys got to make sure you follow us on social media at PCN Final Score on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. You know, I said those out of order, but whatever. Definitely go on there, smash the like, smash the subscribe, smash those follow buttons so that way you can make sure you stay up to date with the latest and greatest from Final Score, all the dope memes and crazy stuff we post. A lot of great content on there. But the biggest thing is right down in the corners, hit those like and share buttons for us. That way you can help Final Score get out there even more on social media. Definitely couldn't do it without you guys. But like we said, we do have an action-packed episode starting with the NHL playoffs. And we had a little bit of hockey today, didn't we?
Oh, yes, we did. We had ourselves some good old-fashioned afternoon hockey, a 3 p.m. start. We had the FTB, the Tampa Bay Lightning, yes, the defending champs. Shit. But they went up against the New York Islanders in Tampa Bay. Game was available to be seen on NBC. And guess what, man? It did not disappoint. All right. I know if you're not a big hockey guy and you're not a big hockey fan, you may not know it, but that was one hell of a game and a hell of a chess match that went on as the New York Islanders pulled off a victory over the Tampa Bay in Tampa, 2-1. Goals by Matthew Barzal and Ryan Pollock. Semyon Varlamov almost had a friggin' shutout until about the last minute of the game. When, of course, what happened? Well, Kucherov decided to sell a little bit of a cross-check, pretend like it hit him in his soul, hit him in the chest a little bit, but apparently it rid up, according to him, up to the nosebleeds. But besides that, they had a little 6-on-4 and were able to cash in, but that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was it. And the New York Islanders, they played that trap game to a T. It is absolutely infuriating to deal with, okay? Watching and having to deal with the New York Islanders and what they do on the ice is by far one of the biggest pain in the ass anybody has to deal with. I don't know if you caught any of that game, Chris, but I know you had one hell of a stat to mention. That you posted to me that you're like, dude, that must be something. That must mean something right there.
Oh, yeah. You really got to think about this stat when you get down to the nitty gritty. So when you look back to the Lightning when they played Carolina throughout that entire series, the Lightning only trailed for 20 minutes and 17 seconds during that entire series. However, against the Islanders, they trailed 27 minutes and 28 seconds in game one alone. So, yeah, definitely an interesting stat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely an interesting stat because what that shows you is that Barry Trotz system. All right. And for those of you, the best way that I can put this, and I wrote this to Chris earlier, the New York Islanders play the hockey version of Occupy Wall Street. All right. Where they just suffocate you all and they take their the skilled opponents and the skilled players and they give them zero space to operate. All right. No room for the rich. And you have to bring your lunch pail if you want to play against the New York Islanders, man. You got to bring your work boots, your work pants. You got to be Will Ferrell and just be like, I'm walking tall. It's the Catalina wine mixer.
Catalina wine mixer.
It's the only way, man. That is the only way that you're ever going to defeat the New York Islanders. They don't play pretty hockey. They really don't. They have one guy that really makes it look good, which is Matthew Barzal, who, if you haven't noticed or haven't seen yet, goal of the year candidate for sure, electric speed. But the difference between this year and last year is that he is now getting into the mix of things. Before, he was just a superstar on the outside trying to wait for it to happen. Right now, he's getting cross-checked in the face. He's getting nut-checked, like, my man Space would love for me to say. He's getting into the mix of things and still contributing offensively, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that just puts him at a completely other level. And this rematch right now between the Isles and FTB is one hell of a matchup, man. Absolutely one hell of a matchup.
Yeah, definitely is going to be one hell of a matchup, and it's something that's definitely going to have to be watched as we go forward. Game 2 will take place Tuesday, 8 p.m. on NBC Sports Network, so definitely make sure to check that one out. And Game 3 will be Thursday, 8 p.m. Network not yet announced. So definitely going to be very interesting. Now, you do have some keys to this series, though, and even a prediction for us as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not gonna let that go. I'm not gonna make sure we don't have a prediction for you guys. Yes, Tampa Bay is still one hell of a team, still, the defending champs for a reason, right? If you look up at one of the great stats that I've seen, there's only one player left in the entire NHL playoffs that is in the top 15 of NHL cap hits, and that's Carey Price at $10.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of them have been out. They either didn't qualify for the playoffs or they're completely out. Kucherov makes 9.5. He's like ranked 16th, in terms of NHL cap hits, along with Stamkos, who's down there at 8.5. So they still make pretty good damn money. But they do play that kind of hockey where they knew that if they took a little bit less, than the 12.5 of Connor McDavid, the freaking 11 of Nylander and Matthews and Marner and all those idiots, they knew they could have a hell of a team, and they do. But I still have the Islanders winning in 7.
Islanders in 7. You heard it here. Yes. My goodness.
And it's going to be one of those series that it's going to go back and forth. All right. Yes. You got great animosity already built up thanks to Mr. Bruce Cassidy, the head coach of the Boston Bruins, decided to call the New York Islanders the New York Saints. Because anything they did, of course, they were like, oh, the ref's not going to call it because they're the New York Saints. Right? Well, guess what? The New Orleans Saints tweeted them out and said, congratulations to the New York Saints on making it to the next round. So even the New Orleans Saints are actually getting in on the act. And, Drew Brees retired probably was like, hey, man, put this out. This will be fun. So, I mean, the idea, though, is that they got to stay true to that name and they got to stay out of the penalty box, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go into the penalty box, Tampa will destroy you, And how do you stay out of the penalty box with, Tampa is you have to outskate them because you don't give any room for those lazy penalties, those, back checking and you reached out a little too much and you end up tripping the guy, skate with them every step of the way, they're not going to call it. They're not going to call it if you see them skating with them. And in that game, man, they skated with them to a T. So that's definitely the Isles idea, is that they definitely have to stay out of there, out of the box, right, and skate with them no matter what. Tampa, though, got to give that to their bottom six. Yanni Gourde, Blake Coleman, Anthony Cicerelli. These guys need to contribute. These guys need to score. Because if the Isles stay out of the box, Kucherov's going to disappear. Stamkos is going to disappear. Braden Point, he's a little bit more dynamic. He'll still be in it. So will Hedman. But some of their main sharpshooters, they're going to disappear. You know? And Kucherov last year, he was very good at 5-on-5. This year, not so much. And that is, I think, the difference between going back to the Stanley Cup Finals and not. Kucherov better wake up and start contributing 5-on-5 if they want to go back to the finals this year.
Absolutely.
So that's my keys for Tampa, and their D-men got to contribute.
Absolutely.
Hedman was an MVP last year, where he had like 15 fucking assists. He was all over the place. This year, not so much. You know, Mikhail Sergachev and Ryan McDonough have been great at blocking shots and playing defensively, but you know, they also got to contribute offensively. They got to get a quick outlet pass to one of their playmakers. You know, I'm going to agree with Douglas on this. Douglas here in the chat makes a very good point. As the playoffs move on, the box gets a little smaller, right? So they let more and more go. You really got to, you know, do a penalty. So it's got to be something serious for the refs to really call it. They're not going to let Tampa Bay win solely on power plays. You know, so the box is going to get smaller. They're going to let the boys play, and no Jimmy. I'm not cheering just for the Florida boys. FTB for life. You hear me?
Ooh.
Life. All right. They're an absolute rivalry, and you know why? Because they're $18 million over the cap. So screw them.
Well, speaking of being $18 million over the cap, we do have a little bit of story to the backing of this series. And you know me, I love a good story. What's the story of this series?
Oh, man. The stories is exactly that. All right. The story is you're talking about that this is the rematch from last year. Barzal is now playing with Edge, and he's hot. He scored in 5 straight games. So that's number one. The first time around, Barzal was not much of a factor. He got shut down by Hedman. And also, they're over the cap, man. 18 million over the cap. Now, you can sit here and tell me they found a loophole. Well, you know, so did the Patriots. Found a loophole with videotape. They found a loophole with deflated balls. But in the end, it was still looked at as, yeah, it's kind of a shitty loophole, man. You know, like, just because they found a loophole, it's not like the Astros where they're actually banging trash cans and flat out cheated. You know, there is a slight difference. You know, they're not the Houston Astros, they're the New England Patriots. And you're going to sit there and tell me that Deflategate and Spygate and all that crap wasn't a form of cheating? You know, just because they got away with it, right? And you're going to sit there and tell me that Kucherov had to sit out the entire year? He was skating 3 months before the season ended. And they just kept holding him out. And then all of a sudden, Stamkos goes down too. Give me a break.
Yeah, right.
You know? Now, I did my research, Chris. I did my research. You know I'm not going to let you down. The Chicago Blackhawks did do something similar to this and won the cup, where Patrick Kane had gone down. They made some moves that put him over the cap, and then they went to the playoffs, right? Here's the difference. 5 million over the cap or 18 million over the cap.
Yeah, it is a huge difference.
Okay, that's a freaking big ass difference. Not to mention that when the Chicago Blackhawks did it, they sold out. They went to win, and then they had to trade Patrick Sharp. Then they had to trade Big Buff. Then they had to trade Teuvo Teravainen. Then they had to make all these trades to make sure that next year they were under the cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tampa didn't do that. They just said, Kucherov's having hip surgery. He's out the whole year. Long time IR. Thank you for the $9.5 million. The shit, man. You know?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's my gripe right now. Let me tell you with the NHL is that they're just gonna let these Florida boys just cruise on in with the 18 million. Luckily, they're running into a buzzsaw of boring ass hockey with the Islanders. And hopefully the Islanders in that trap system is just gonna, you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be old school CM Punk or whoever the hell came up with they're gonna go to sleep.
The go to sleep. Originated in Asia. Just saying. That was a Japanese move long before CM Punk did it. Just saying.
Hey, what's his name? Come on. Hideo, right?
Yeah, Hideo.
There you go. Yeah,
that's right. Hideo.
I'm up on it. See, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh man.
So yeah, man, those are the stories and the keys for that first matchup. I mean, we're talking Final Four here, boys.
Yeah,
so
we are in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Which means that there's two other teams that are going to be going at it. Game 1 is supposed to be taking place on NBC Sports Network, I believe tonight. Is it tonight or tomorrow?
Night.
Tomorrow night. Sorry,
night.
one day off. Yeah. Between the Montreal Canadiens and Las Vegas Golden Knights. This is definitely going to be interesting. What are your keys to the series?
This is a definitely interesting series right here, boys, because you got the Montreal Canadiens, absolute surprise this year. Think about who they steamrolled, all right? They steamrolled Justin Bieber's best friend, Austin Matthews, who can't even get recognition by SportsCenter because he's that well known. We'll get to that later. Nice little surprise for you boys. You know, I mean, they had to go through the buzzsaw of Montreal, right? Then they went through the Winnipeg Jets, who had just gone through their own buzzsaw of Edmonton and the Hart Trophy, you know, the leading points getter, Connor McDavid, 105 points, and they swept his ass like it was nothing, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, the Jets are on a huge high. The Canadians are down 3-1. And then they come back, beat Toronto, and then sweep the Jets. It's hard for me not to sit here and pick that momentum.
Yeah.
All right. Think about that. Any sport. Doesn't matter, right? First round, you're down 3-1. You come back, win the series, then you sweep the second round. What the hell do you think is going to happen the next time? Like, it's hard for me not to pick the Montreal Canadiens because of how much of a ride they're on right now. And you know, Carey Price is worth every $10 million, every freaking penny of that $10 million, because he's shutting down $48 to $50 million worth of forwards, no matter what. Then you throw in the young guys from the Montreal Canadiens. Cole Caulfield, right? Mm-hmm. He just started playing. He's only like 15 games in or something like that. He just started playing. Nick Suzuki, okay, second-year player, young kid. These kids are like the next thing. I love what these kids are doing, man. They're playing loose, like they've already made it. And when you're playing loose and you're having fun, dude, you're unstoppable at that point. You know, and that's going to be the Montreal Canadiens' key, is to keep playing loose, keep having fun, because nobody thought that team would be where they're at. So if they just keep doing that, man, forget it. The Montreal Canadiens could easily sweep Vegas at this point. Now,
Oof.
I know.
Oof.
I'm still a Vegas guy, though. You know why? Because Vegas is not a hockey market. If you go to that arena, they will tell you you're full of shit. It is definitely a hockey market because they threw everything at it. They didn't care. Drumline, sure. Little John, absolutely. What else can we get here? Strobe lights, done. We're gonna make this all Vegaside or whatever I don't know what the hell you call it. Vegafied, maybe.
Vegasified.
Vegasified, yeah. I'm sure Jimmy will come up with a great meme of me trying to say that word. They know for a fact that they had a market. They went all in with it to the point that they traded a lot of their assets, right, to go all in right off the bat. You got that Vegas high-powered offense with Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty, William Karlsson, John Martian. So, I mean, and what happens there? Yeah, Dougie, it stays there. And you know what could happen there? My prediction is that Vegas will take this series in 6. Okay, so I got Vegas coming out of this one. I really like their team. I like their defense. That's really going to be their key to it. Alexander Pietrangelo, former captain of the St. Louis Blues, is playing absolutely insane right now. I think he's going to find a way to slow these young guys down and make it very difficult. But it's going to be a very tight game. I see a lot of these going into overtime, and it's going to be who steps up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the guy? Who's the guy that's going to step up, Chris? I don't know.
Could be anybody.
It could be anybody, exactly. And with Vegas, with that, how deep they are, it definitely could be anybody.
Yeah.
So the Habs hustle, give them credit when credit's due. They've had a few OT winners as well. The biggest thing is Tyler Toffoli for the Montreal Canadiens. If he can get loose and bury an OT winner or something, that'll change the whole series.
Easily.
But then we also saw Mark Stone do it for Vegas. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But this one also has a hell of a series to look forward to. Not to mention what an amazing arena it's going to be in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen it yet, go on my IG right now, Not a Hockey Market Podcast, and take a look at the entrance to the Vegas Golden Knights. It will get you jacked up for if you're a sports fan, period. Right?
Absolutely.
So, and what better way than to knock off an original 6 and on your way to the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yeah, that definitely.
And then knock off the former champs and be the first franchise to win a Stanley Cup within your first 5 years.
They almost did it in year 1.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's going to be a goaltending duel there. Which goaltender lets in a soft one or which one takes an unlucky bounce. That'll definitely have something to do with it, my friend. But you know what? I can talk about this all damn day. One more story to get to you, Chris, and you're going to like this one, right?
Okay.
So, Montreal Canadiens captain at the time in 2017, Max Pacioretty, going kind of sour with the GM. He gets traded to Vegas for a package of players, including that young kid, Nick Suzuki. So in sports, when you see a trade, what's the one thing that we always say, Chris?
What happens when they match up again?
Yeah, and who wins the trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like which team wins the trade?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. That's what we're going to find out in this series.
Absolutely. Definitely should be a lot of really great stuff, honestly. And I'm really excited to see these series go down. Don't forget, though, game 1 of this series will be tomorrow night on the NBC Sports Network. So definitely make sure to check in and check that game out. It's going to be a great one. I'm telling you, a great one.
100%, man. 100%.
Absolutely. Just like all the great content platforms that you can find FinalScore on. What can you tell us about that, JDM?
Oh man, are you kidding me? All of these content platforms that you could find Final Score, you got Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Podcast, Player FM, Bullhorn, Castbox, and of course, the YouTube, as my kids call it. It's not just YouTube, it's the YouTube.
The YouTube.
Go to the YouTube and search PCN Final Score, one word, una palabra, and you can see all the different stuff that we have and all the content on all of those platforms.
Absolutely. A lot of great stuff going on there. And of course, though, a lot of great stuff also going on in the NBA playoffs because we are still going through the second round. And it's been a little surprising to kind of see how things have unfolded. And we're going to go ahead and start in the East with the two series we have going there. First with the Nets and the Bucks. Now, what's been interesting about this is that Greg Harden was out for games 3 and for games 4. But let's also not forget Kyrie Irving got injured today with a right ankle sprain during the Bucks Game 4 win over the Nets. So now that the season is tied at 2 apiece, are we going to see a comeback by the Bucks, or do the Nets clamp down?
You know what, man? I'm looking at this, and I have to say it. I really think that this is what it's called when the ball doesn't bounce your way, man. We always say it. Sometimes, no matter what it is, NHL, NBA, MLB, you name it, NFL, if you end up with a few injuries at the wrong time, you just get unlucky because those are impact players.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Nets were looking like super sweet. They were looking high flying right now. And then, boom, all of a sudden, a couple injuries, and now what?
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely now the Bucks series to win. They got to win the next game to really clamp down hard, not give them enough chance to recoup. Because we know the NBA likes taking more than just one day off in between games. They like to take like a 3-day weekend before they play the next one. Everyone's got to rest up.
Of course.
There's no, 1 game, day off, next game. I mean, who does that? Crazy people.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, you're looking at these series too, especially with the Bucks and how they won Game 3. It was more mistakes by the Nets, and then Game 4 they just turned it on, and it's crazy to see how the series started. The Nets were up 2-0, and now all of a sudden the Bucks are back, really taking advantage of the injuries on the Nets side. But like you said, hey, injuries are part of the game, but injuries could also derail you. So, I mean, we'll definitely see come Tuesday on TNT when they have Game 5. Exactly what the Nets are going to do to try and answer back, because now they're down 2 out of their big 3. So it's down to Kevin Durant. You think he can get the job done?
I don't. I really don't, because it also comes down to, I don't think the Bucks exactly play super fancy basketball either. They play pretty solid defense. They play very good team defense. They're going to key on KD. And, they're going to make his life a living hell down there, and that's what it's going to happen. I really like the Bucks defense. Defense still wins championships. We love, it's the common thing that you always hear, but it always comes down to that it can be a turning point. And I don't think KD could do it all by himself. He hasn't been able to do it all by himself since the beginning of time. So I don't think now is all of a sudden when KD is going to say, I really could just carry the team myself. Now I can do it.
Yeah.
Where you been? Where were you in Oklahoma, man? Where were you in Golden State? Where were you in, I don't know, Hawaii basketball?
Letting a bunch of other players, do the hard work for him. That's really what it came down to.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, now you tell me James Harden, doing it on his own, he's proved that he could.
Absolutely, James Harden.
Kyrie, definitely as well. But when it's had to be solely the KD show and it came to getting a W, he hasn't pulled it off.
No, he definitely hasn't.
He hasn't pulled it off.
So, I think that's going to end up being an Achilles heel for the Nets if they're going to try and now rely on him possibly going forward, because right now they don't know how long Kyrie's going to be out. We already know that James Harden's already had his issues. So, what happens from here? So it'll definitely be an interesting series. But looking on the other flip side of it, for the other East semifinal, the Hawks and the 76ers. Now, this has been interesting just for the sheer fact that nobody really expected the Hawks to be in this position after getting their stunning series win against the New York Knicks. But now we're looking at a 76ers team that kind of started out flat, but is now really starting to clamp down. Hawks took game 1 by 4, but the 76ers have won by double digits in games 2 and 3. So this one is going to be interesting, especially now Danny Green is out 2 to 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain himself for the 76ers. So do you think that's going to play a big role into this?
Oh, 100%. I feel like this is one of those evenly matched series. I mean, the 76ers, yes, they came out flat in game 1. Hawks caught them by surprise. And then I think 76ers caught the Hawks by surprise with their response. And it carried over from game 2 to game 3. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where I do think that now Atlanta is going to say, oh, no. Hold up. We got your answer right here. Okay. And Trae Young is going to have himself a big game. And he's going to, put up a good 30 something on them and get back into this series. This is a very easily game 7 kind of series.
Absolutely.
I really think so. Because you can't tell. You can't tell what's going to happen. There's a lot of momentum swings. Even in the blowout wins that the Sixers have had, there were some momentum swings within the game, and then they just pulled away. So I think the Hawks respond in game 4 and make it a series.
Yeah, honestly, I have to agree. I think the Hawks could turn this into a series very easily, especially with Danny Green out. That's definitely a defensive player that the 76ers really rely on, especially as a guy who can feed the ball to Joel Embiid. So definitely going to be very interesting to see how this series plays out. My money, honestly, though, is that this will probably go 7 games and that the 76ers will be able to pull this out in the end. But a lot of variables that could happen in between, especially if Trae Young gets hot. Because once Trae Young gets hot, he gets hot.
And he's going to take a bow. Because he can do that, man. So
yeah, he definitely
can do.
Oh, my goodness. But shifting gears over to the West, we have 2 semifinal games that are definitely getting interesting for their own rights. The Clippers and the Jazz will be the first one we touch on. The Jazz, one of the best scoring offenses there is in the NBA, coming up against, honestly, some tough competition from the Clippers. They didn't win by very much in game 1 or game 2. And then the Clippers took game 3 in super dominating fashion. So is there a reason to be worried out in Utah?
100%. 100%. Because the Clippers, all right, when it comes down to it, you're not going to stop Donovan Mitchell, okay? You're not. But you can match him. And what did Kawhi do? He went out and he matched him. Donovan Mitchell had 30. Kawhi said, I got your 30. Here's 34. Right? So he went out and matched him really well. And that's what the Clippers need to do. Stop worrying about whether or not Donovan Mitchell is going to put up 30 on you. He is.
Mm-hmm. It's going to happen.
Okay? It's going to happen. As a matter of fact, don't worry if he puts 40 on you, because guess what? It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But between Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, the Jazz defense isn't exactly what I would call stifling. Worry about your own game. Worry about your own shot selection. Worry about taking good high percentage shots. And he puts up 40, put up 45. Because you got a few more weapons on your side than the Jazz do. The Clippers, at least. The Clippers have more weapons than the Jazz do. But right now they're just overwhelmed with, Donovan Mitchell. And they're still, I don't know, maybe they're starstruck that Dwayne Wade is on the sideline coaching them. I don't know. Just get over it, man, and worry about your own damn game. You're not going to stop them. Paul George and Kawhi, who are great defenders in their own right. Sorry. Donovan Mitchell's on another level, man. I love watching this kid.
And
honestly, I love watching this kid.
And honestly, when you look at the Jazz as a whole, too, they have scorers from everywhere, guys that come off the bench and score. They had guys that were in such scoring figures this year. It's been unrivaled. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out. Game 4 will be Monday, 10 p.m. on TNT. And I think the Jazz have a lot to worry about, honestly. But who knows? Maybe this was a fluke by the Clippers. Clippers have been known to kind of fail at random times with Paul George and with Kawhi Leonard. So, I mean, it really just depends upon, I feel like, whichever Clippers team actually shows up.
100%. 100%. You never know which one is going to show up. And you know what? I kind of want, in these kinds of situations, you tell me, what do you think, Chris? I want the new wave, man. Give me Donovan Mitchell for another round. Kawhi, you won for the North. Congratulations. You got one for upstairs. They appreciate you in the attic. Canada loves you. But that's it. You're done. You were a great nemesis for the Miami Heat when you're playing with the Spurs. Awesome. Paul George, I don't know how many teams you got to be on to win a title, but hey, you've been around. It's Donovan Mitchell's game now. It's Luka Doncic. It's Devin Booker. It's, I could go on and on, man. The new wave is here. That's what we want to see.
The Trae Youngs of the world.
The Trae Youngs, yes. Mm-hmm. Even Joel Embiid is still kind of getting to that shaky, Dwight Howard territory, unless he does something with it.
I tell you what, we got random people in the chat right now that are now cheering on the Yankees. Things get so random here on Final Score. Don't mind us.
Of course. Yeah, no, go Yankees. Wait, hold on. No, I hate the Yankees.
Go Red Sox. There
you go, Red Sox.
Yeah.
Sorry, Justin. I will tell you, I did read Yankees. You guys are sliding. I heard you guys were sliding a little bit. You better get your act together, man.
Oh yeah.
Or Trae Young's gonna come over and make you take a bow.
But speaking of taking bows, it looks like the Nuggets are not having any kind of luck against the Phoenix Suns, who've just been rolling them up like it's nobody's business, winning by double digits in all 3 games. And they have game 4 on now, the elimination game, currently with the Suns leading 96-83 against the Denver Nuggets. So not looking too good for the people out there in the Mile High City.
No, definitely not. It looks like the altitude does not matter for the Phoenix Suns. They're scorching hot right now. Let's just keep adding all the puns, right? Yeah. The Phoenix Suns are scorching hot. It's like Scorched Earth over there, starring Ben Stiller and Justin Singleton. It's all kinds of craziness over there in Phoenix. I love what they're doing in Phoenix. Don't take a bow, Phoenix. Pull out the brooms, man. Pull out the brooms. Call it now. I don't see the Denver Nuggets getting back into this series at all. Call the sweep. Mark it down. Call the bookie. I don't care what you got to do, but it's happening right here, right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. And honestly, the Suns are up by 13 right now. Or sorry, only up by 10 now. They just got back underway. 96-86, the current score. But still up by double digits. Absolutely crazy what the Suns have been able to do with such a young core, plus Chris Paul, and, of course, Devin Booker playing out of his mind. So you just can't count out the Suns now. The Suns, I think, are a legit team. And, again, with the help of Chris Paul, are part of a new wave as well when they're bringing in Devin Booker and all these other young nucleus of players that they have there. Because if you don't realize, Phoenix Suns are an extremely young team. So a lot of that they can do still, and I think that they are really proving it now.
100%. I mean, it's just, an iceberg couldn't cool these guys off, right? Mm-hmm. They're just way too hot, and I like seeing it. And we talked about it before. LeBron, bye. Now we got to get Kawhi out. We got to get Paul George out. Let's just, new wave. All right. It's a completely new wave for the NBA, and it should be exciting for NBA fans, man.
Absolutely.
It should be. Not too long ago, guys, I think it was, 7+ straight years that Andre Iguodala was in the finals?
Yeah.
It was 7 straight years of LeBron versus blank. LeBron versus, Curry. LeBron versus himself. It was always something, right? And now we don't. And now we
don't
don't.
have
And
that.
I feel like some NBA fans are actually tuning out, and I think that's kind of sad, man.
It is. And honestly, look at all these teams you have in here. None of these teams have been to the finals in over a decade. So it's to me extremely refreshing to see teams that are rising up that are real perennial powerhouses now, like the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns. Like, who would have been saying that 5-10 years ago? Nobody. And it's absolutely wonderful, I think, for the sport to be able to have the fresh blood, to be able to have new faces, to have these franchises in a position to be able to win, because it gets boring when you're seeing the same old crap all the time, whether it's LeBron or whether it's Kawhi, or even when it was the Spurs all the time, or, there's so many routes you could go with this. And now it's fresh. Now it's something different.
100%. Now it's fresh. It's basically like a huge volcano came up out of scorched earth, melted away all the useless crap, and now we have a fresh sheet. We got a fresh lay of the land. Everything looks really nice in the NBA. Freaking tune in, man. I don't know about you, but Chris, who do you want now? Like, looking at all this, who do you even want to come out of it?
Yeah, some of my favorites for this, honestly, with the Nets and the Bucks, I really would like to see the Bucks advance. And I think that if Kyrie Irving's also going to be out and James Harden isn't back in a reasonable amount of time, the Bucks end up taking this one. And I think that they could win the next two straight with how it's looking and end up winning that series 4-2. But with our other East semifinal, 76ers and the Hawks, it could go a lot of ways, but I think the 76ers are still going to be able to get it done without Danny Green. I think the Hawks are going to cause a lot of troubles. I think this ends up going 7 games, but I think the 76ers will inevitably pull it out. But looking at the West, Clippers, Jazz, dude, this is the Jazz's series to lose. If the Jazz can regroup, come back off that loss, and get things going, there's no reason they couldn't win games 4 and 5 and be able to win this in 5 games and go on to the next round. And the Suns already got this in the bag, baby.
The Suns got this on the bag. I couldn't agree with you more with those picks. I definitely got the Suns got this in the bag. I like the Jazz. I do also want to stick with the 76ers. I think the Hawks are going to go through a little bit of a learning curve this particular playoff season. And I like the Bucks as well. So I like the fresh faces that are coming to town, man. So I don't know. Excited to see for sure. Guys, Final Score fans, let us know in the comments, who do you like? Like, what is one team of yours in this NBA playoffs that stands out for you guys that you're really excited to see? Let us know, and Jimmy will make a meme of it.
Yes, more than likely, Jimmy will definitely make a meme of it. But you know what? We talked about fresh faces. Y'all got to talk about fresh merch, because you can get the new Final Score merch on the PCN shop, because at the PCN shop, they have what you need, whether it's a neck gaiter to protect you from COVID-19, a mug for your morning coffee, or a t-shirt just to look cool like me. We got you covered. Get the latest apparel and gear for your favorite podcast and Podcast City Network by visiting podcastcity.net/shop and checking out the lineup today. So go check it out, fans. We love it. We got so much merch on there. Trust me, no shortage.
Nice.
Just like there shouldn't be a shortage of teams to make the college football playoff. And finally, our voices have been heard, fans, because there's now a 12-team college football playoff proposal that is ready to be talked about in Chicago this upcoming week. Man, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see if this actually comes to fruition, because this could change the entire landscape of college football. Oh, I'm so excited. So if you don't know what we're talking about, you've been living under a rock, you got to catch up with us. This was a whole entire proposal written by the Big 12, SEC, Mountain West commissioners, plus athletic director Jack Swarbrick from Notre Dame. Go Irish. Who came together to be able to come up with a proposal to try and make things more fair for teams to be able to make the playoff, because 4 teams is not enough. And if you want to harken back to a piece we did a long time ago, well, I guess it wasn't that long ago, about the numbers, the actual math of North American sports and the teams that make the playoffs in those leagues, it was absolutely atrocious when we got to college football D1, FBS, whatever you want to call it. And now we have something that could try and change that. And what's even better is that this is meant to not include guarantees for conference champions, which I think has been a big problem when you start looking at the old bowl system, where it was all about, oh, well, if you're a champion, you have a tie into this game, or, oh, if you're Big Ten champ, guess what? You're going to the Rose Bowl. Oh, you're SEC champ, you're going to the Sugar Bowl. None of that with this anymore. So a lot of that has to be added onto it. But with how they have it breaking down, the bracket would include the 6 highest ranked conference champions plus the 6 highest ranked other teams as determined by the selection committee, with no limit on the number of participants from a particular conference, and no league would qualify automatically, which I think is really big. What do you think about this, man?
So I absolutely love this. I love the fact that we had so many idiots. I felt like I was lying. I was in the movie The Lion King. I was Scar. I was playing him. I'm watching all these things, and I just told myself I am surrounded by idiots. Because everywhere you looked, idiot here, idiot there. This is just a horrible idea. I can't believe they're going to do this. And then what do? They play this victim card of, see, look, all they want is more money by doing this expanded college football playoff. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wait. Now you're concerned about whether or not it's making too much money? Now?
Wow, now?
We're concerned? Oh, wait. Is it because you guys can no longer be biased?
Just saying.
Maybe so. Now, I will say this fight is not over because I do have a gripe with this.
Uh-oh.
Okay? Because there has been nothing said that this current expanded playoff system is going to substitute for all the unnecessary bowl games.
Yeah.
Okay? If this is going to be an addition to all the unnecessary bowl games, where you have the Bare Necessities Bowl, you have the Outback Bowl, you have the Champagne Shower Bowl, you have all this stupid bowls all over the place, that you're just going to have to sit there and just continue to make billions and billions and billions of dollars. And by the way, we're going to pay your players a bag of Tostito chips because it's the Fiesta Bowl. Whoop-de freaking do. You better get rid of all these stupid-ass bowl games, all right?
Oh,
in conjunction with this. It's got to go hand in hand.
Oof. I want a shirt. See, man.
I want a shirt that's, there is only one bowl, and it's the bowl at the house. That's it. Only should be one. Okay? No more bowls.
Oh, my gosh. He said no more bowls. Sadly, though, I don't
the only
see
bowls they're having is the
man.
Booger McFarland bowel movement bowl that he's having when he talks so much crap.
No, don't get me started on Booger McFarland and all that garbage, because he went off on the playoff on Get Up on ESPN, and it absolutely ruffled my feathers, because at the end of the day, Booger McFarland was worried about, is this too many teams? Oh, we're trying to make it where everybody's included. Oh, it's more about the money. This is about money. No, it's not. But Booger McFarland, you don't even do Monday Night Football anymore because you can barely put together a coherent sentence. Please sit down and shut your mouth, all right? Because at the end of the day, this is what is needed. We need to have more open access to where it's not Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson every single freaking year in the college football playoff. Yeah, it was great to see Notre Dame finally make it in, but honestly, more teams should have had a shot as well, because there were so many good teams in college football this past season, even though it was a COVID year. But at the end of the day, people like Boogie McFarland are just worried because, like you said, they can no longer be biased. There's no longer going to be able to have an SEC bias on ESPN. And yeah, I'm saying it. ESPN has an SEC bias because they have the SEC dick so far. You know what? Let me just stop there before I get too graphic. But at the end of the day, we're just seeing a true change in college athletics that's been needing to happen for some time. Honestly, something like this should have happened 20, 30 years ago, realistically. But hey, we're here and we're going to be getting it now, and that's what's important.
Yeah, no, 100%. But the idea that the bowl games that they would have, I think, just made this even harder, because you had bowl games for teams that barely even made it to a reasonable record, and they would throw in bowl games at them. You're watching a bowl game of 6-6, two 6-6 teams. Really?
Yeah.
So, like that, they deserve to go to a bowl game. I mean, come on, man. Jimmy does say 12 teams is better. It's just a start, but it's not enough. I do think we also got to be careful. Got to be careful that it's not so many, right? That you end up with basically the bowl fiasco, basically eaten by a dog, puked up, then that dog eats the same vomit and then pukes it up again into the 12-team college football playoff.
Yeah. And that's a big thing too. And honestly, maybe we should explain the kind of format they're looking at with this too, because I don't think we really covered this too much. Because the four highest ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4 and receive a first round bye. Teams 5 through 12 will play each other in the first round on the home field of the higher ranked team. The quarterfinals and semifinals would then be played in bowl games, and the national championship game would remain at a neutral site. Now, this is where my gripe comes in with this proposal. I know you were worried about the bowl games, which honestly, that is a very valid argument in so many ways, and not something I even really thought about until now, just because we were already looking down the barrel of 38 or 40 different bowl games already, and now we're talking about shifting a lot of the teams to playoff teams, and now how are you going to fill these bowls with all these tie-ins? So it gets very difficult, but this, under the proposal, even if Notre Dame is the number 1 team in the country, it cannot receive a bye or be seated higher than number 5 because they are not in a conference, which I think is utter bullshit. Because at the end of the day, if Notre Dame's the best team in the country, they're the best team in the country. Make them number 1, give them the bye. And I think the only reason that they would include this little stipulation is to try and force Notre Dame to join a conference and try and basically get rid of the independents, because Notre Dame really is the last bastion holding on as an independent. So if they go that way, all the other teams,
all the independents. Well. And unfortunately, that might be one of those situations where they try to force that hand. Because now, college football and the National Committee of Idiots, they look, they're looking stupid. Right? They're looking like huge donkeys right now. And as this thing goes further into negotiations, they're going to throw one little stupid thing out there to try to regain a little bit of control and tighten the screws, because that's what it's all about for them. And it'll be that. I think you can almost call it. It'll be, well, if you want to be a part of it and consider it, if you're an independent, you have to join a conference. Sorry.
So ridiculous.
Completely.
So ridiculous. But remember, all this is still just a proposal. So many aspects of this could change, but it's been reported that a lot of athletic directors and people in the higher ups of the NCAA and in these conferences are saying they're finding a lot of trouble battling against this. So, I mean, a lot could still happen, but definitely make sure to check back on the next episode of Final Score. We should have more news on this as they have the actual meetings this upcoming week in Chicago. So a lot more to come on that. Just like
it is awesome. It is absolutely awesome that next week you're going to have even more information about this, because more information is just all we freaking need is figure this whole thing out. And you know what? It takes a network to really make something happen. And you know what stuff happen all the time?
What's that?
Podcast City Network. All right. Podcast City Network is one of the best networks around. Final Score is a proud member of that Podcast City Network. Podcast City Network has 20 independent podcast members across all genres of podcasting. Find PCN on all major social media platforms. Go to facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Also follow on Twitter @PodcastCityNet. Do your YouTube search keyword Podcast City Network. Also the website podcastcity.net, because guess what? We're always looking for interested podcast hosts and content creators to join the network. But we understand that you may not be what we're looking for right now. You may just need a new logo, an intro, outro, video, music for your show, a live stream hosting for live broadcasts, some voiceover work, or just some one-on-one consulting. No matter the need, Podcast City Network's got you covered. Just go to podcastcity.net services and fill out the content form for an estimate so we can help you reach your podcast sitting goals. Be creative, be independent, be yourself. Podcast City Network.
Beautiful. Love it. Absolutely love it. Just like we should love some new NCAA news also coming out, because the NCAA president, Mark Emmert, and lawmakers were debating a need for national college athlete compensation laws to be passed by Congress. Now, what's interesting about this story is the fact that there's a split divide. Who would have thought that Republicans want a narrow bill that doesn't really get too involved? Democrats want something that's a lot more sweeping and changes for all college athletics. And it's very interesting because we're already seeing a lot of states are on the precipice of enacting a lot of their NIL laws. So this is all up in the air and crazy. What do you make of all this?
It's been up in the air and all kinds of crazy from the beginning. I know Florida was one of the leaders in wanting to push this through right away and was really cool with it from the get-go, but then you had other states backing out. It's all a freaking power play all over the place. And what people keep forgetting is that you're doing this power play bullcrap with kids. They're still kids, man. They're still freaking kids, and you're supposed to mold them to be decent human beings. You know, not mold them to become the next Wolf of Wall Street. You know,
True story.
So I mean, that's my kind of overall take on it when it comes to it. You know, I think Douglas has the right idea. Maybe if we went in there and presented some Podcast City Network T-shirts and have everybody wear them, they could see that we're all the same, that we're all in this together, and that we're all looking to just kind of create good, fun content and also have some good college football.
Absolutely.
And let people get paid for their services. Let them be entrepreneurs. You know what? And if they don't want to do that, they could just join Podcast City Network and be creative, be independent, be yourself.
And we're all about that here. So you definitely just go to podcastcity.net and check us out.
Yeah, any college athletes who could just put we'll mask it. We'll change the voice. I'll do your voice instead, whatever it is, and you can come out here and air your grievances. There you go.
I feel like one of those big secret voiceover. Well, I'm sure we'll be able to.
Exactly.
Too good. It's too good. But you know what? The Power 5 even came out and had a statement about all this, because as we know, there's a lot of craziness. We don't know what schools are actually going to follow. So the Power 5 issued a statement that read, and I quote, "Only Congress can pass a national solution for student-athlete NIL laws. The patchwork of state laws that begins on July 1st will disadvantage student-athletes in some states and create an unworkable system for others. As leaders in college athletics, we support extending NIL rights in a way that supports the educational opportunities of all student-athletes, including collegians in Olympic sports who comprise 80% of Team USA at the Rio Games. We continue to work with Congress to develop a solution for NIL and expand opportunities." End quote. So with that being said, the Power 5 really is trying to put all this in the hands of Congress to try and figure this out. Congress is taking this very seriously, and they want to try and come up with something that is realistic for all these athletes, because all of them should be able to make some kind of money. Athletes shouldn't be working for free. At that point, literally, what does that become? A slave trade. And I don't want people doing that. No, and no one should be forced to do that. So
I mean, no one should be forced to do that at all. And not to mention, we're supposed to teach these young kids about business and about, making sure your name can be out there and doing different things. Why is it so bad for an NFL player an NCAA player to sign some autographs for some fans and, say, hey, I'm going to donate my time to a charity and go sign some autographs for a nonprofit? They can't even do that.
Yep.
Without it being considered breaking the rules. Are you kidding me, man? Like, you want them to be decent human beings, you want them to be assholes. Right now, just going to have them be a bunch of assholes.
Right?
Jeez.
It's absolutely ridiculous. But hopefully we should have more on this as the year carries on and be able to get something kind of figured out with all this. So definitely make sure to check back with us, and we should have more as the year presses on. Just like we always have so much going on over at City Limits Tap Room, located in beautiful DeLand, Florida. You don't know about City Limits Tap Room? Well, you need to go check them out at 2620 North Woodland Boulevard in DeLand, Florida, and all the great specials and amazing stuff they have going on. They also have a venue out back. It's a lot of great stuff, live music, karaoke here and there, a lot of great stuff. But for the specials, Monday, all-day $6 wing baskets and $5 pictures of Yingling, Landshark, and Busch Light. And Tuesday is Guys Night with half off all wells and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. Wednesday, all-day $5 pictures of whatever selected beer for the day from 2 p.m. to close, and $2 seltzers at the outside bar. And Thursday is Ladies Night with $1 wines, wells, and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. And Friday, karaoke with Al, great friend of Podcast City Network, from 7 p.m. to close. And Sunday, $13 domestic buckets and $16 import and craft buckets all day long. So definitely make sure to go check out City Limits Tap Room in beautiful DeLand, Florida. And that does bring us to Meme Madness. This is going to be a little interesting. I'm going to see if I can pull this off with us doing this. It's going to be fun. See if I can make this work. Because I have no idea.
Faith.
I have faith.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it. See if it works. I don't know. I don't think I can get it to work.
No. There's got to be a way.
There has to be a way. Oop, that wasn't what I was looking for.
Do you got them on a file? Because then we just upload them real quick.
Oh, here we go. Boom. Well, it's not a video file. Well, we're going to play with this and see what happens.
Let's do it.
It's always fun to try and experiment when you have technical difficulties and move on to other things. Let's see if I can get this to work. No. Well, I can't get it to work, but you know what? That's just been our day today, so I'm not too surprised that we couldn't get it to work.
Damn.
But it's okay, though.
Almost.
We'll definitely make sure to hit you guys with a good meme madness, and we're going to save all these memes because there's a lot of good ones for this week that we're going to save for the next episode of Final Score. We'll just end up having a super huge duper meme madness edition that's sure to rock some socks. So
that sounds like a good plan. But I see the meme madness, and something has to be recognized though, aside from the meme madness, and that is 3K.
That's
the 3K downloads. Thank you guys to Final Score, all the Final Score fans, for 3K downloads. That is a phenomenal way to go. We definitely would have had this meme madness running for you, Jimmy. I know it was an add-on plug or some crapola, but we couldn't do it on the fly. But definitely thank you very much to all the Final Score fans for 3K.
That's right.
Let's
3K.
go.
Let's go.
Big stuff there, boys. I boys and girls. That's just awesome. And you know what also is just as awesome?
What's that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I've told you this before yet, but have you always wanted to start a podcast, but you didn't know how?
No.
No? Do you already have a podcast, but don't know how to grow it? Yeah. Well, guess what? Are you trying to find ways to make your podcast profitable?
Yes.
You can learn to do all of that shit here at Podcast City Network. We offer consultant services and tutorial classes to help with learning to better expand your knowledge and to grow your show. We also give access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotion, guests, and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. The best part? No, not past. That's a typo there. The best part is no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around Podcast City Network.
That's right, which brings us to the good old give or go, and got a couple interesting ones today, starting with the MLB finalizing a memo on a rule against use of foreign substances by pitchers. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, The MLB has had a rule all along against foreign substances being used by pitchers to try and manipulate the ball or bats or any other kind of ways of being able to manipulate the game or outcome. However, there's always been this unspoken rule that basically umpires are not going to check you unless they can, like, for sure visibly see something is going on. So with that, though, they are hoping to crack down more on this to the point where referees are going to be checking it like a DUI checkpoint, where randomness will be built in to reduce pitchers' possible comfort level with the idea of violating the rule or applying substances after being checked during a game. And they're talking, I think it was like 8 to 10 times a game you might get checked. So very interesting for them to kind of to steer this way. Are you at all surprised?
I'm not at all surprised because, hello, how many no-hitters and phenomenal pitching have we had as of late, when it used to be that if you saw a no-hitter, it was like a lifetime bucket list thing. And now it's like, oh, yeah, it happened on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, I blame Eddie Harris, phenomenal pitcher from Major League with the Vagisil underneath his, hip and the barb oil underneath the hair. I mean, Eddie Harris just kind of ruined it for everybody, I think. Because once you put it into movies, man, now they figure it out.
Yeah,
now they figure it out. And then with all the streaming services, forget it. Major League is available on Netflix. So, you can see Eddie Harris use all those doctors, doctoring the ball with all kinds of crap, and jalapeno in the nose. I mean, come on, man. You made it so easy for these pitchers to get super creative now that who knows what they're doctoring up with the ball. I mean, I remember back in the day when just throwing a knuckleball was considered a good idea. But no. Now we got to really get into it.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically reverse steroids, too. I mean, we had the steroid era, and now we got, the doctoring of the balls era. So yes. How far back is this going to go? I've come to the conclusion that baseball is just full of cheaters.
Yeah.
If you're not cheating, you're not winning. All right. Lie, cheat, and steal. Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero, because he must have been the future, the actual commissioner of baseball at one point.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying at all.
I ain't lying. And so, Dougie, I like it. Best football movie. Why not? Let's just, we mention, Major League. He's going to go say best football movie any given Sunday. Fun fact, about a year ago, remember the Titans knocked off Any Given Sunday in our March Movie Madness bracketology craziness that we had.
Yeah, the Sports Movie Madness.
Movie Madness bracketology. Go back into our, library and check it out. I think you'll enjoy it, Dougie.
I think that was in the 50 series, like episode 55 or whatever it was. So definitely go back and check it out. God, that was so long ago. Didn't think. But we do have, to kind of sum up, though, everything with MLB in this memo. The MLB's hope is that the pitchers will use foreign substances less, like spider tack and homemade superglue, and be scared straight by the public conversation and just flat out stop using them, which, I mean, I guess if you bring it to the forefront hard enough, I guess you could pressure people into not doing it, but
they're just going to find new ways.
Exactly.
They're just going to find new ways. They'll find new ways how to do it. And, the super glue, the super tact or whatever, these pitchers think they're freaking Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
Like, shoot webs out of their, glove now or what?
Pretty much.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous, but, it's baseball. That's what it is. It's not ridiculous. It's not baseball.
Yeah, if it's not ridiculous, it's not baseball. But looking at our other give or go topic, we have some ESPN hockey reporting woes. So you have this one little here. ESPN definitely has been off the rails when it comes to anything hockey related and reporting recently, including their coverage of a UFC fight. I got to leave this one to you. You're so hilarious in explaining it.
So basically, here's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. ESPN has realized they can bring hockey back. So they are super excited. So they're covering the next UFC fight, and walks in super fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Justin Bieber. and he's actually walking in with 41 goal scorer Austin Matthews, and SportsCenter puts it all over their social media, puts it all over their IG and their Twitter feed and all kinds of crap. Justin Bieber goes to UFC, and in the picture is Austin Matthews, and there's no mention of the guy. I mean, how can you miss him? He has a shitty mustache. It's horrible. It's the worst mustache that you could ever have. It looks like, a homeless Zorro. I mean, it's just awful. And no mention of him. No mention of Austin Matthews with Justin Bieber as they're both walking in there. Now, if Toronto Maple Leaf fans, if you're trying to figure out why Toronto and Austin Matthews didn't show up for round 1 against the Habs, probably because he was hanging out with Justin Bieber too much. I mean, you just look at his history. It's not good things. Good things don't come from that, man. Just a little bit. So, and you know what, man? ESPN continues their reporting woes. They couldn't even sign the great one, Mr. Wayne Gretzky, to an analyst deal. Mr. Wayne, the great one, Gretzky, is signing with TNT. Sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah, I was about to say, is Wayne Gretzky all elite?
I believe he is. Gretzky is now all elite. You heard it here first. I mean, ESPN just back away, dude.
Failing.
Just back away. Just leave it to TNT.
But you know what? It's better for them to just keep throwing money at Stephen A. to keep spouting off all the ridiculous crap he does.
Sooner or later, they're going to run out. They're not going to be able to sign anybody for the NHL because remember, NHL's got a big deal coming up for next season, guys. Mm-hmm. It's a huge deal. They got NBC, they got TNT, they're going to be broadcasted on multiple platforms, and they got a new deal with ESPN. Mm-hmm. At this point, though, Stephen A. Smith is going to be covering ESPN. Or if you watch, or is going to be covered in the NHL, excuse me, not ESPN. And if you watch SNL at all, they're probably going to bring in Chance the Rapper, so he can sit there and go, it's cold down here at the rink. The guy's playing hockey. This guy's got a name, SKJ. That's 3 consonants, no vowels, so that's a nope. Let's just do that hockey. I mean, come on.
Let's do that hockey thing.
Let's just do that hockey. ESPN sounds like, I don't know, sounds like WCW right now when it comes to hockey. It means non-existent.
That's good. But yeah, ESPN just dropping the ball left and right. But hey, it's ESPN. What do you expect anymore from them? Nothing.
Yeah, no, nothing. not an absolute damn thing. And I think we got to leave it off before we go and finish off our give and go. There's something else that I want to give right now on to you.
What's that?
Because I just got a nice little alert that in the Suns and Nuggets game.
Oh yeah, I see it here.
MVP Jokic was ejected for a hard swipe at Suns Payne with 18 seconds left as the Suns are leading 121 to 116, pretty much closing it out.
Yeah, hit him with a flagrant 2.
A flagrant 2 for taking a bit of a wild swing in frustration. So, I mean, hey, what is your take on that? Obviously,
I mean, hey, tempers flare over. You're looking right now. The Suns are currently leading 121 to 116 with about 18 seconds left. You're looking at possible elimination, but you cannot have your emotions flow over like that to the point of where you're taking a wild swing at an opposing player. You definitely cannot be doing that because now the MVP of the league is now not on the floor for these final seconds as the Suns now lead 122 to 116 after free throws. So this just can't happen. You can't do that. You just can't do that.
I understand the frustration, and you know what? I kind of like it gives me a little bit of that hockey vibes to it, because, you're not going to win the series. It's basically over, but you kind of want to show your team and everybody that you're pissed off, that we should not have been swept this way.
Yeah.
So I kind of enjoy it, man. It reminds me of the old school 80s and 90s basketball. I feel like basketball is a little too soft sometimes these days. So, let's bring back a little bit of the scuffles. What's the harm? It's at a time where they're out of the series. Nobody was seriously injured, right? So let's just move it on, and I will definitely look at changing my name now, thanks to Jimmy.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy. Mission. I got a mission for you, bud. I got a mission for you. Find me that. Let's do that hockey from Chance the Rapper. Put me with the JDM and the, nope. That's all consonants, so that's a no. we gotta put it together, buddy. Only you could do it.
Oh, it's too good. It's too good. But that was our give or go, which means now it's time to talk about PodChaser, your daily source for podcast discovery. Because Apple Podcasts is no longer the only credible place to rate and review podcasts. Follow creators, browse every podcast ever, and rate and review episodes. Just go to podchaser.com and search keyword FinalScore, one word, and give us a follow, a rating, and a review, and let us know how we're doing. Definitely got to check out PodChaser, podchaser.com. A lot of great stuff going on over there. But that does bring us now to the week ahead, which we still have plenty now of NHL playoffs to go and NBA playoffs as well. A lot of exciting games that are going to be taking place starting, tomorrow night. So make sure to check them all out, as we still have the Suns and the Nuggets wrapping up. Currently 123-118 with 12 seconds left in that one. Looking like the Suns are going to possibly close that one out. But you can also check out our great lineup of PCN sports shows. What can you tell us about that one, JDM?
Well, man, you got everything coming up. You got Not a Hockey Market podcast in full effect and full swing. Go and visit at Not a Hockey Market podcast on IG. Follow me on there. That way you can see all of the antics that are going on, as well as the Nest podcast, the Rip Griffin Show, Fixed Edge, and of course, Not Your Average Podcast in the 716. I think that's how you say it. Regardless, 716. Regardless of any of that, next week we got episode 110 of Final Score next Sunday at 9 p.m. on Facebook Live. So always all kinds of stuff going on with the podcast family.
Absolutely, and it'll actually be next Sunday, because we're going to take Father's Day off because all the dads deserve a break. So definitely, JDM, make sure to drink some brews and calm one down as Jimmy ends up coming up with some memes for you.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for that meme madness. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. And we had a few that were I was kind of itching to get out there, itching to get out there, especially Mr. LeBron walking off early.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be some good ones.
There's going to be some good ones, man. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for a special edition of 110 that'll have a massive meme madness segment.
Absolutely. It'll be a massive meme madness, because I'm not deleting any of them. I'm just going to keep adding on until they're all in there. That's right. Yeah, I know. There's going to be a lot of memes by then, Jimmy. 2 weeks. That's a lot of time and a lot of memes. And
it's going to be a playoff edition. That's what it's going to be. Playoff edition.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be plenty.
It'll be good stuff when we come back in 2 weeks. But definitely make sure to check us out then. But we thank you guys so much for joining us in all of our technical difficulties this week for episode 109 with me and JDM. Any last words, JDM?
Last thing I got to tell you, boys, is that Final Score is where it's at when your sports content. We give it to you the way it is. We're as real as we can get. And that is why you got to check out Final Score.
Absolutely.
As real as it gets, boys. And Chris, as always, you are a gentleman and a scholar that have always been trucking along. So appreciate you for bringing me on. And once again, we're both men and we're both 40.
We're both 40. We're men. We're 40.
No, we're not. No, not yet.
No, we're not.
Not yet.
Not yet. Haven't gotten there yet.
No.
But until next time, fans, I'm Chris. And over here, that's JDM. And and you guys just watch Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Cheers.
Podcast City Network.